All right, welcome back, friends. We are now in the third month of 2023. Wow, time flies way too fast indeed. Happy International Women's Month, you guys. And a big thank you to everybody out there for reaching out to me these past couple of months and wishing me well, giving me your wise words, words of encouragement, words of prosperity, etc. I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much, you guys. Many of you have reached out to me and you guys have said, hey, these people that we elected on Monday, December 12th, 2022, they're not giving us any information, no updates. They're not informing us about anything. And we are more clueless. We're more lost now. We're more in the dark now than ever before. Roger, can you do something? Can you give us an update? Anything. So, you guys, let me first start off by saying this. We do not need them to educate ourselves. We do not need them to organize ourselves. We do not need them to provide us with vital information and updates that we need on a daily basis. We have the single most important element of any and every movement: ourselves, our numbers, the ability to educate and organize ourselves. Friends, that right there is the strongest weapon any and every movement can have. The most dangerous weapon against any and every movement is the lack of information. Ignorance is the most dangerous weapon and destroys any movement. With a lack of information and ignorance, you guys, we are all doomed. Hence the reason why I'm being very clear: we do not need them to educate and organize ourselves. I've decided to create this program for you at your request. It's called TWU. What does TWU stand for? TWU stands for True Words Unleashed. True Words Unleashed, you guys. That's TWU. What we are going to be doing is bringing to the front stage everything that has been occurring behind the stage, behind the scenes, and behind the curtains pertaining to TWU Local 258. So we are going to be breaking down budgets, finances, money. Where does it go? Who gets it? Who doesn't? We're going to be breaking down contract negotiations, arbitrations, etc. That's what TWU True Words Unleashed is all about. Let me begin with this first episode with a brief recap of what's happened. When I first started my job, January 1, 2018, I was immediately suspended on day one. I appealed that suspension to the TWU Appeals Committee in the East Coast, and they ruled in my favor. So they overturned that first suspension. A year later, Local 250A suspends me again for the second time. I appeal that suspension. And once again, the appeals committee ruled in my favor and overturned my second suspension. A year after that, TWU Local 258 suspended me for the third time. All right, you guys. Now, that suspension, the TWU, I guess, leadership in the East Coast, they decided to step in and they pretty much said, Local 258, you better leave Roger Marenko alone or you might not be in office anymore. A year later, I was suspended again for the fourth time. This is now in December 2022. You guys remember I was suspended, and just a couple days before the election, my name was removed from the ballot. And that brings us here to March 2023. Now, I want to give you guys a little parentheses real quick, okay? Between my second and third suspension, there was also a decertification effort against the entire union as a whole because of everything that Local 258 was doing against me and essentially against us, all right? Now, I was pretty much begging the International to come in and help us out during that decertification. Luckily, that decertification was avoided. And in a future episode, I'm going to talk about what it means to decertify versus disaffiliate, because those are two different things, and you guys have been asking me about that. So in a future episode, we'll talk about that. During my second and third suspension, while this decertification process was moving forward, TWU International stepped in at my request. I was pretty much begging them to step in. Why was I begging them? I was begging them for a couple of reasons. Luckily, when they did step in, the decertification was avoided. Now, number one, the reason why I was begging them to step in was because I kept on being suspended. Number two, Local 258 was not allowing me to do my job. Number three, I kept on experiencing harassment, intimidation, threats, bullying, etc. Number four, Local 258 was violating the law. And number five, this is a very interesting one right here, you guys. I had a suspicion, an inclination that there was some type of theft or embezzlement that was occurring with the finances of Local 258. Lo and behold, after the TWU International investigated, they found a secret internal document pertaining to misappropriation of funds. Wow, turned out that I was accurate. I was right in terms of theft and or embezzlement, misappropriation of funds. Now, I'll tell you what, you guys, this is what we're going to do right now. I'm not going to talk about the misappropriation of funds right now. I'm going to save that for the next episode. All right, you guys. And then I'm going to show you guys the findings. I'm going to read to you guys the findings of the TWU International. At this moment, I want to bring it back a little more closer to March 2023. All right, so we can continue talking about this sham election and why it is that we are waiting for a decision pertaining to the appeals. Why do we refer to it as a sham election? Well, allow me to share my screen with you guys so that you guys can follow along quickly right here as I share my screen. There it is right there. Okay. This is the United States Department of Labor. This is conducting local union officer elections, a guide for election officials. What does the United States Department of Labor have to say pertaining to elections? Let's see, Chapter 10, Election Notice. It says, and I quote, unlike the nomination notice, the notice of election must be mailed to each member at his or her last known home address at least 15 days prior to the election. Let's see what our Constitution has to say about this. In Article 15, Section 6, it says, and I quote, not less than 15 days prior to the election of local officers, notice of such election shall be mailed to each member of the local union at his or her last known home address. Friends, let me be crystal clear. This is one of the many reasons why this election is being contested and why it's being appealed, because it was a sham. This was never conducted right here. A letter was never sent out to the membership. All right, you guys, one of the many violations. Moving on. Chapter 11, pertaining to ballots. Under requirements, it says, and I quote, instructions on the ballot should clearly state the manner in which members should mark their ballots. For example, mark an X or check mark in the box next to the name of the candidates of your choice. The ballot should also indicate the maximum number of votes allowed for each office. Now, let's look at our phony baloney ballots. Look at this, you guys. Wah, wah, wah. Is just half a sheet of paper with a bunch of words on there, names, no instructions whatsoever. Absolutely ridiculous. Moving on to the next tab, you guys. It says the voting instructions on the ballot should clearly advise members that any identifying marks placed on the ballot will result in the ballot being voided. Once again, let's look at our phony baloney ballots. There it is right there. No instructions whatsoever. None. Huge violation. Moving on. Right there on your screen, you're going to see voting booths. These are voting booths or voting polls. All right, you guys? Let's see what the United States Department of Labor has to say pertaining to this. Under Chapter 9, Right to Vote. The opportunity to cast a secret ballot in an officer election is the most fundamental right guaranteed by the Labor Management Reporting and Disclosure Act to all union members in good standing. Wow, you guys, wow. Fundamental right guaranteed. Wow, unbelievable in terms of a secret ballot. Let's move on to the next tab. It says the polling place. Election officials must not only make arrangements for balloting in secret, but must also ensure that members actually use the secret balloting facilities provided. Secrecy may be assured by the use of voting machines, or if paper ballots are used, by providing voting booths, partitions, screens, curtains, separate voting rooms, or other arrangements which ensure privacy for the voters. If additional voting booths are necessary, large cardboard boxes placed on tables with one side cut open can be used. You guys, this was a serious, huge violation in terms of my right to privacy, your right to privacy, our right to a secret ballot, a secret election. There was none of this that was conducted at any of the polling sites whatsoever. Huge violation pertaining to the United States Department of Labor. Now, up on the screen, you'll see identification cards. What does this entail? Let's see. Under requirements, it says all the way at the bottom there, election officials should ask each voter to present identification, check the voter's eligibility, and mark the voter's name off the eligibility list. Friends, this was never conducted. People were not asked for identification in any way, shape, or form whatsoever at any of the voting booths. Moreover, at any of the polling places, excuse me. Now, moreover, I was told that many of our members were instructed to write their names on the ballot and or on the envelope. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this has got to be one of the most ludicrous things that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Our members writing their names on the ballot and or on the envelope because some people were telling them, oh, I don't know who you are, just write your name on the ballot. Absolutely ridiculous, you guys. Completely ridiculous. Huge violation of our right to privacy. One of the many reasons why this sham election is being contested and appealed at this moment. Let's go to the last tab right here, you guys. It says ballots should be acquired from an outside source, such as a printer, instead of using the union's copy machine to make the ballots. The printer should be asked to provide an official count of the number of ballots printed. Guess what? This was never conducted. Another violation right here. So the United States Department of Labor is telling you use a printer outside from the union office so that there can be accountability. Do not use the copy machine in the union office. Guess where the ballots were printed? On the damn copy machine in the union office, you guys. Another huge violation. Why is this important, you guys? Well, let me highlight this little section right here. It says the number of ballots ordered or printed should equal the total number of eligible members plus about 5%. Extra ballots may be necessary if voters spoil their ballots and need replacements. On the other hand, election officials should avoid having too many extra ballots printed since an excess of ballots makes it harder to safeguard and account for all ballots. That's why you do not print these ballots on the copy machine at the union office. This is why you go to an outside printer, which was not done with Local 258. Another reason why this sham election is being contested and appealed at this moment still, as we await a response, a decision in March 2023, you guys. Wow. Damn, that was a lot of TWU, true words unleashed in our face. That's what this show is about, bringing to light the facts, evidence, proof. That's what you guys asked for, and that's what we are getting. So, you guys, I want to mention a couple of things briefly. Where do we go from here? What do we do? Now, like I stated before, I'm not going to go into details about the misappropriation of funds. That's going to be in the future episode and other episodes that we bring pertaining to many other issues. Now, we are here at this moment, waiting on a decision pertaining to this sham election. I wanted to bring in the AAA, which is the American Arbitration Association, professionals in terms of conducting elections. I was voted down by some executive board members here in TWU Local 258. Why was I voted down? Because of the money. The AAA could have done this entire election at half the cost of what we, Local 258, spent. They are professionals and they never would have committed all of these ridiculous blunders that were committed by our folks. What do I mean by the money, you guys? Well, these were 21-hour shifts. How do I know that? Well, you and I have the right as members to find out where the hell our damn money is going. So any of us can find out and go into the office or just call and find out how much money was spent on the election. How much were people paid? I'll tell you how much people were paid. They were paid 21-hour shifts from 4 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the morning the following day. You do the math, you guys. What is 8 hours worth of straight pay plus 4 hours worth of overtime pay plus 9 hours worth of double time pay? Don't forget to add in there the lunch break, you guys, paid lunch. You tell me, how much money did these guys make? So why was I voted down in terms of bringing in the American Arbitration Association? Because some people on the executive board simply wanted to hire their buddies and pay them a nice big fat paycheck on the day of election. And guess what? They screwed it all up. Hence the reason why I just provided to everyone some of the many violations that were committed and conducted by Local 258 in the sham election that was conducted on Monday, December 12th, 2022. TWU, true words unleashed in our face with proof, with evidence, hardcore facts. Now, do the math, you guys, and tell me how much money all of these folks made when they worked that day of the election. A 21-hour shift. Damn. Wow. Unbelievable. Now, this is what we're going to do now, you guys. There are a couple of movements that are being led at this moment. We're not going to go into detail about these movements that some of our folks are organizing. What we are simply going to do is we are going to be a little bit patient, a little patient. We're going to wait till the next episode comes out. True Words Unleashed. We're going to wait for the international to render their decision pertaining to this sham election. And I know that you guys have all asked me, hey, how long do we need to wait? It's been 3 months. Are we going to wait until the end of the year? Are we going to wait until 2024? How long are we going to wait? And that is a great question, you guys. So I encourage you to reach out to the TWU International Committee on Appeals so we can get their opinion in terms of how long this is going to take, because we can't wait forever. We won't wait forever. Friends, until next time, be safe out there.